Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Gray Man Prepping. It is time for Survival Saturday, and tonight's topic is after East Coast mega tsunami, what are your plans now? And warning: uh, possible fantasy fear porn Kool-Aid drinking zone ahead. Then again, maybe not, because this type of thing isn't that far-fetched. So first of all, let's get over here and say hi to everybody. Comments going here. All right, first one in was Diana, then Crew 1351, then Geeky Gardens, then Chef Tech. Ooh, hang on. Time out. Just came in, blew a brake line on my truck in the backyard, then blew transmission fluid cooling line on the something in the driveway. Guardian Angel's trying to tell me something. Yeah. All right. Going on here. Prepper Girl came in. A little known Prepper came in. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Yeah, I'm not drinking any Kool-Aid. All right. I put that, Kool-Aid drinking because everyone, that's the urban legend. But in truth, it wasn't Kool-Aid they were drinking down there at Jamestown or whatever it was. It was a different brand, and the FBI agent didn't bother to write down the brand of what the Kool-Aid was, not the Kool-Aid, the drink was that was mixed up was. And so he just, in Congress, he goes, Kool-Aid. All righty. This one has come up over the years. Back when I used to have, even had Will Russell up here, and Anthony from Meadow Prepared came up, and Uncle Al, and that. This was, back, 2018, no, 2019, 2020, early stuff. Jonestown, thank you, corrected, Jonestown. And, this would always come up because of the things that would be published by different scientific journals and stuff. And Janet Potter's in here. Good evening. And so, this topic, is, although it's not one I have addressed directly for a live stream, but it's always popped up in the what ifs when we used to talk about, things happening that most people would not be ready for. So let's look at some causes for this. Hang on a second here. Let me drop the link for the for Mark. Control C, and a couple of and anybody else of a monkey wrench come on up, and if they want to comment on this. There it is. So, causes for an East Coast mega tsunami. Man-made, on purpose. All the scientists say no. I mean, well, there's a slight chance of, they drop enough atomic bomb or nuclear bombs to set them all off at the same time in the trench there in the Atlantic. They might cause one. And doing things by mistake, all the scientists say no. That is Mother Nature, and we're going to talk about some of that. And here comes Mark. Hey.
Hello.
Hello. Good. Okay, your microphone's working great.
Yep. I'm on my headset this time.
Yeah. And it's not in the Mediterranean. It's outside by the Canary Islands, and I got a map to show you on that. So let me go ahead and drop that down. Yeah, so nature caused is the only way, according to all the reputable scientists, that it would happen. And the one that they don't talk about too often, which I'm going to mention here quickly and we can get by it, is a large asteroid landing in the middle of the Atlantic or near the seaboard, with 200 or 300 miles out, maybe 400 miles, 500-600 miles out to be able to get the whole seaboard good. But yeah,
there is a man-made way, but we don't like to talk about that.
Well, we talk about the nuclear option, trying to set, off down to the trench and cause the side of the trench to collapse and cause a whoosh. But yeah, it's not really going to be a man-made thing. It's a nature cause. And thing is, so let's go to it here. Actually, I forgot to put that before this, so I'll come back to the slide here in a second. Small tsunamis have occasionally hit the east coast of the United States, usually generated by submarine landslides, such as in the trench, or distant earthquakes over on the east side of the Atlantic, although they rarely cause significant difficulties. All right, let me go back up here. Actually, let's just set that set for a second. There was a significant earthquake in Japan, late 1600s, early 1700s, and a tsunami hit the west coast of the United States, and several of the big rivers coming out of Oregon and Washington have scar marks several hundred feet up, where all the trees were stripped bare as the water went right up the river and then came back down again out. And yeah, you're right. It has happened. Big ones have happened on the West Coast, because it was documented. The Indians were telling the Spanish, I want to call them missionaries, because they were more like conquerors coming and enslavers that came up the West Coast there, setting up missions and stuff. But they talked about it. It was in their oral traditions not that long before the Spanish showed up. So it was after Columbus, quote, Columbus discovered America, but it was after 1492. So yeah, it had happened, but yeah. So yeah, I thought that wasn't on my bingo card. Yeah. All right, so let's go back up. Actually, no, we'll go back to the mitigation and recovery one here. We go down to the next one here. The biggest number one agreed upon one out there is the La Palma island with the volcano there. And there's two variants of this one. One is it just has a nasty earthquake. It's not the volcano erupting. Things are shifting there, and there's enough of an earthquake that the entire west side of the island, which is seismically unstable already, slips and falls down into the ocean. And different scientists have it ranging on the tsunami that hits the U.S. at being anywhere from 50 feet to 300 feet, and of course, the ones doing this one here have it somewhere in the middle of this and waves 130 to 160 feet, moving at a speed of 650 miles per hour, and traveling up to 12 and a half miles inland. I can tell you right now, if it's 160 feet and it hits Florida, it's going more than 12 miles inland. So, and the other one is that if the island of La Palma, the volcano there, pulls a Krakatoa, where it blows so bad there ain't nothing left of the island, and then you're going to have one of the hitting their best guesstimate is anywhere from 300 to 800 foot tsunami coming across the Pacific there. But as unstable as La Palma is, most geologists and scientists agree it ain't going to pop a cork. To build up that much pressure, it's going to leak like a sieve and go in, spout stuff, and it's not going to go like a champagne cork and blow. So here's the interesting thing on this one here: for 130 to 160 feet hitting the United States, it's over 300 feet hitting Northwest Africa, because there's not as much room for it to disperse, and it's just going to go like a freight train in there. I think Florida's going to become a bunch of small islands anyway. Some people would say it basically already is a bunch of small islands with bogs filling up and swamps filling up the gaps in between. No offense, Jack. No offense. So
if something like that hits and it hits Florida, Jack's going to find himself in Mexico in about 20 minutes.
Oh, it'll go back here. The time frame of it blows. They have it where it's out to 1 hour, 3 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours hitting the coast. So how fast Jack can drive once the news breaks, or whether he can get a speedboat and on the west side and boogie over to Texas as fast as he could. Wait, wrong way. Sorry, wrong way on my button control.
Yeah, but as it spreads out that far, it doesn't maintain its 300-foot height.
Right. But where that 300-foot height comes back at is on the run-up. It may only be 100 feet hitting the shoreline, but it's going to run up to until it hits at 300 feet above sea level. So that's one of the possibilities there.
Good. I may have waterfront property, but for a short time. Then I get to have everything in Baltimore is going to be in my front yard.
Highest point in Florida, 364 feet. I have to check. I did the research for my novels. And so I think it was 364 feet was the highest point in Florida. Did Pompeii or Krakatoa cause tsunamis towards this country? Okay, Pompeii, no, because that was trapped mainly within the
Mediterranean. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, North Africa got it, Middle East got it. Going a little bit went out into the Atlantic, but by the time it got there, it done all sorts of other crap. Krakatoa, good question here. Let's find out here. Hang on. We're just going to bring that up over here and type it in. I don't think so, but it possibly could have. Did the KR?
Just look for see where is Krakatoa.
Krakatoa is
on the African coast.
No.
That's also in the Med, isn't it?
No, It's in Indonesia.
No.
Okay. TS is the West Coast, or west in the United States. It's thinking, yes, the massive tsunami generated by the 1883 they're trying to be fancy. You know, the AI thinks it is smart. Krakatoa did reach western United States. It did not arrive as a destructive wave, but was rather recorded only as a small, faint sea level oscillations on sensitive tide gauges. I didn't know they had sensitive tide gauges back in 1883.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah. Now there was an atmospheric pressure wave that affected everyone around the world, but yeah, sensitive. They weren't sensitive. They were basic tide gauges. And Hawaii probably got more than we did. South America probably got more because where it was at. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Boom. And yeah, according to some people, yeah, everything's getting toppled.
Yeah, imagine all the toxins and toxic waste and stuff after that when it recedes, and how bad the pollution problem is going to be with a few nuclear power plants also planted all along the East Coast.
Yeah. Yeah, I got some artists, taking photographs and saying, all right, this is what it's going to look like. That's a little bit more absurd.
Yeah,
but
that's more like I'd like to surf that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to surf. Yeah, we're going to surf that in a cigarette boat. One of the ones from Miami Vice.
You can surf that. You could surf that in a Titanic.
Well, I'm just guessing from buildings. I'm trying to figure out how high that is. That's 800 feet, 900 feet, depending on how many stories these buildings are here.
That was like Florida. They look like maybe 20 stories.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. One, two,
It's not New York City.
Yeah, you're looking at about 20 to 25 foot, 20 to 25 story buildings looking around at this. So, what is it? Those type of office buildings, you figure
12 foot. I think were they 10 foot, 12-foot floors?
Yeah, 12-foot floors. 12 times 20 is 200 and 240. So some of these buildings are 240 feet high. So you go 200. So I go up here. I move my cursor up.
8,
so
10. That's about a 2,000 foot high tsunami wave. No,
that's about 120 stories high at 12 foot per story. That's still, yeah, a little ridiculous. Now, the continental shelf landslides cause secondary tsunamis on the East Coast because it's pushing water away first, and then the returning water is returning to a vacuum of sorts, and it runs up higher. So the Canary Islands, where the farthest one out is La Palma, but then up here off of Portugal, they've been having, the Azores have been having earthquakes and stuff, generating stuff. And then you have this one trench in the light area going right up here from the word Puerto Rico, from the sea there on up to the Z and Azores and on up to Iceland is the the Atlantic Trench, but it's got a specific name. And that's widening, and every now and then pieces fall off back down into it and cause problems. But yeah, there are several potentials for tsunamis in the Atlantic, but most of them, unless it's a massive disaster, most scientists agree it's not going to be that big of a problem, and the wave's not going to be going that fast that they won't be able to sound an alert with everybody's social media to get away from the ocean. There is a significant tsunami coming, and just leave it at that. You know, not try to say, a 50-foot or a 20-foot tsunami, which is still significant. You know, you have a 20-foot tsunami hit New York Island. It's going to raise more as it piles up against the shoreline. But yeah. So, so there's going to be two parts. We're talking about what's hitting. We must have had a bunch of trolls in here because the number dropped drastically, but it's still up for the number of people watching. So what we get most likely is not going to be the 300-footer. We may get a 100-footer tsunami coming in, depending on what happens where, because the dispersal radius of it, even if the half of the La Palma falling into the ocean, the dispersal radius is going to take care of most of it, like you were saying. But let's see anything else. All right, that's the last picture. So
anything more than about 20 feet on the East Coast will wipe out most of the coastal cities. Pretty.
Yeah. Most of the coastal ports. What's the big port?
Yep. Baltimore Harbor?
No, south. Bigger.
Charlotte. In South Carolina? Oh, Charlotte, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Virginia Beach, all that stuff, all the Navy yards.
Oh, yeah. The Navy yards are really going to take a beating on it. Mitigation. What can we do? Well, if there's two parts of this mitigation. One, if you're on the East Coast. Two, if you're anywhere else in the country. The Tonga one is West Coast. And worse than Tonga is the Vanuatu. Because Vanuatu is always having 7-point+ earthquakes. Oh, that's how Jack's going to get to Texas. Surfs up. He has a surfboard. What we got? If it hit New York, people would drown. Would people drown in subways? That much of a storm. If it got up onto the streets and stuff, they had 3 feet of flooding on the streets. Yeah, it would flood out the subways. The pumps would not survive. The power stations.
Come on, look at Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy screwed up the whole lower Manhattan.
Yeah,
flooded all the tubes down there and everything. I mean, the pumps couldn't keep up because the power went out.
Yep. But if they get a warning, all right, it's going to be there in 8 hours. They're going to shut down the subways 3 hours beforehand and make sure everybody's out of there.
Yeah, get the trains, everything. They'll shoot them off to Brooklyn, to the higher areas, to the L series, and get all those trains off the ground.
Yep. All right. So mitigation. What can you do if you live in the area? Have a. I hate using this term. Have a bug out plan.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's coming. It's time to get to higher ground. Now, my grandkids just went out the door and went wandering. They're heading back across the street. So they're probably going to go we're still hungry, and they're going to go home and try to get more food over there. They're both those ones are in a growth spurt right now. Got to get the mole people out. Yeah. All right. So mitigation, is to have a bug out plan, have all your documentation handled. This is normal. Have all your documentation for insurances, life insurances, health insurances. If you own property, have all your insurance stuff for that. Your deed, copies of your deed and stuff. In a little firebox that you can grab and take with you to get the heck out of Dodge.
And maybe it'll wipe out all the data centers. That would be fun.
Yeah. And the thing is, and it's not just like New York, like you were saying, going down into Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Oh, wait, let's head north. Let's head north from New York. Shoot, I'm just out of brain fart. I know Maine's up there at the top.
For Boston, you got Massachusetts, Connecticut. Connecticut's flat.
Yeah.
Massachusetts, Boston's gone. Portland's gone. You'd have to go westbound to get to the Appalachian chain to at least get up a couple 100 feet.
Yeah. So, if they should, within the first hour, because they should have a rating of how high the waves are coming from there, and saying, okay, we're pulling out the playbook. If it is so many feet there, so many miles out, it's going to be so many feet high when it reaches the East Coast. Oh, we need to warn everybody to be above such and such level. That may take an extra hour. So 2 hours after the cause, that information is going to be coming out. And if you're smart and you first hear about it, you don't care about that information. You're going to get the heck out of there first, so you're ahead of the tidal wave of people evacuating.
Yeah. And more people will die in that because they're all going to get stuck. They're all going to drive like idiots to get out. And millions. I mean, you got probably tens of millions of people all up and down the eastern seaboard. What is it, like 80% of the population lives within 20 miles of a coast?
Yeah.
Around the world, because that's how it is.
Yeah. Water. And so if you're in that and in the East Coast quote evacuation zone, you do your standard hurricane evacuation, all your documentation, everything you need to take with you, so that afterwards you can submit for whatever got left. The other mitigation is those that will live everywhere else. If you have family or really good friends in the evacuation zone, are they coming to you or other people, other locations? So is your location they're coming to? Do you have a plan in place to receive people evacuating the East Coast that you would be willing to put up?
Now that plan will get forced on everybody because you got that many millions of people. Because if something more than 50 foot hits along the eastern seaboard and hits it, ain't nobody moving back out there. Not for a long time, because they're going to be doing cleanup, toxins, all this stuff is going to be bad. Yeah. And there's going to be just hordes of people just walking west, looking for a place to stay and put their feet down because everything's gone.
Yeah, Little and Prepper is in North Carolina, but closer to the mountains, almost 1,100 foot. You should be okay from water. People is another story. There will be squatters parking on people's land all over the place. And that's something most people don't count on is the influx of people into your area, and those that were able to get some of their stuff is some of the preppers are going to have their tents and stuff, or they have a travel trailer or an RV, they're just going to, and they're going to be gone. And so they have, all right, we'll be reasonable. They got 2 hours. How far they can get in 2 hours is as far as they're going to get before everyone else chokes the roads. Because granted, not everybody's going to evacuate for the first couple hours. It can maybe 3 hours where people go, oh shit, they're saying it's going to be higher. I better get out of here. And if you're one of the ones that left in the first 15 minutes, everybody along your route is going to start evacuating. So that's something to consider there too. But then farther on the other side of the Appalachians, there's going to be people having to prepare in the Midwest, in the Rocky Mountains, on the West Coast. There's going to be, all right, and don't forget Texas. All right, hang on. Let me go back, take the map back here. Wrong way. No, I need to go this way. Sorry. All right, here we go. Here's the map. So even if it comes from the Canary Islands and it comes straight across, it's not just going to stop at Florida. If it's a really high one, it'll go over Florida, most of Florida.
Yeah, and around it on the south end, and then
yes,
everything in the Gulf.
Yeah, you look at Cuba and Dominican Republic, and everything here. It's a funnel, and it's going to funnel right up. And look at the if you're on your phone, I'm sorry, it's small, but the continental shelf lip here funnels everything to the bottom part here. I don't know if you can see my cursor moving there, of Florida. And it's going to come in and around, and then it's going to hit Texas, all along Texas there. And then it'll ricochet off and hit Louisiana, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida if it survived. So there's going to be a bouncing of surges in the Gulf here of stuff going this way, that way, and this way.
I guarantee you the biggest issue is going to be people, because they're going to hear 50-foot tsunami. Most people think of the movies, they think of a tsunami as just a wave. That's it. The wave comes, it goes back out. They don't understand that the level of the ocean rises that far. And yeah, you get a wave to the front of it, but that wave top is the same height as all the water behind it.
Yep.
And it just pushes and it doesn't stop. I mean, anybody saw the videos of what was it, Polynesia, when I had that one down there? That wave came up and people, everything was just going right past the hotel, taking cars, people, everything with it for miles.
Yep. Prepared for just came in. And like Diana said, on the North Carolina, South Carolina line, and we got people and animals from Katrina.
Yep.
So yeah, there's it's going to be, the thing is, so at least with Katrina, they had a couple weeks warning that there's a hurricane coming in, but at the 2 weeks out, it was tropical storm. 12 days out, it was it's made hurricane. 10 days out, it's this level, it's coming. This is the spaghetti chart of where it's going to go. They had no idea exactly where it was going to go, and the closer you got to it, the more urgent the information became. You don't have that. You have
6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours.
8 hours before it hits the East Coast, depending on the size of it. If it's a Krakatoa type event, you probably have 6 to 4 hours before it hits the coast, because that water is going to be booking a lot faster. It's all the energy putting in for the push that only determines the height. It determines how fast it's going to be going, and that's the scary part. Let's go back up. Okay, mitigation. Yeah, so evacuations and stuff, it's going to be going on. You got to be prepared for something lasting a year or two,
or
affecting
more.
affecting the rest of the country.
And
Recover.
by the time they recover the area that you're from, say you're on the Jersey Shore or something,
Yeah.
there's nothing there. It's just piles of rubble.
Yeah. And it's probably going to take 5-10 years to recover that.
Yep. But don't worry. New Jersey will still be sending you a bill for your property tax because that's what they do.
Yeah. It's going to be, I say it takes 10 years to get everything cleaned up and start rebuilding and stuff for people to start moving back that way. Infrastructure's got to be rebuilt and everything. But people aren't going to be that made it out are going to go, I ain't going back,
Yep. I'm moving to the Rockies.
Yeah. It's like, Montana's looking pretty good right now.
Yep. Anything above 800 feet, go for it.
So, there may be people moving back to the above the damage line. If the damage reached up to 750 feet, those above 750 feet, those properties, there may people want to move back to the East Coast, and there's going to be people paying extra to buy properties there. Some of those people that live there are going to be going, that was too close for comfort. I'm getting out of here. And they're moving out. They'll be moving elsewhere. Sell the house to people want to move back and move in. And so the mitigation, you got to be ready for a long recovery. And recovery is going to be long. Like you said, it's, the water goes up in there. What doesn't get flattened by the water going in gets totally shaved off by the water and debris coming back out. It's just, and some of the Indonesia earthquakes, the tsunami footages, you see it coming in, and buildings survive until it starts going out and finishes eating underneath the foundations, and the trees and vehicles coming back, bashing. Buildings that survived the initial tidal wave were taken down by the water returning to the ocean. So yeah, and things, there's a recovery for those along the shoreline. There is a recovery for those in the areas evacuees went to, and there's going to be recovery for in areas that were totally quote untouched by it. They were like, oh yeah, we had 3 families show up here in our town, from it. But it's the other stuff that's gone now because of the infrastructure. The Charleston port, the Boston port, all the ports are gone. So anything coming in on the East Coast is no longer coming in on the East Coast. It has to go around and come in on the West Coast, and they get shipped across country to get there. So yeah, it's going to recovery is going to be pardon my term here, but it's going to be butt ugly for a long time. So you got to plan. Okay, is my job going to survive the influx of people? Is my job suddenly going to be one of those companies that depends on stuff coming in from the East Coast, or is my job one of those jobs that with everybody moving around is going to say, all right, this is a business opportunity. We're going to make money on this. Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the people that are taking advantage of an opportunity to hire people and to grow their company after the disaster. Because there will be some good, honest people saying that find a niche and go, yes, we can serve people, we can do this, and we can grow our company, and we can, support more employees. And so there's a lot of things to look at. Are you with one of those companies that's going to grow, or are you one of the companies that are going to shrink and fail? So it's the whole recovery thing, especially brought on by that this one here points out, is this is more likely to happen in some of the things, some of the events we've looked at before. And this affects the entire, would affect the entire East Coast and part of the Gulf states too. So recovery on this is going to be a bear. And this is where I hate going here on this, because I'm not a big supporter of this idea of stacking silver, gold, precious metals and stuff. But that may be something that helps you out if you're in Nebraska or Illinois or Iowa. That's one of the things that it may help you get over the economic problem that hits for the first several years before the economy starts turning around and we start getting a building economy again.
So unless you live on the East Coast and stack, in which case it's all gone.
Yeah.
Because you ain't gonna tote 100 pounds of metals with you to get out. You might grab some, but I don't think you're gonna grab it all if you can get in your safe. If you can get in the safe quick enough to get out of there and not get stuck in traffic.
Yeah. Yep, and now magnify that by 20
or more.
But just so your brain doesn't short circuit, magnify it by 10.
Yeah, that's not an evacuation. That's a migration.
Yes, exactly.
Forced migration. You have no choice. Get out, figure it out. And everybody's going to be looking for government services because they got nothing when they get out there and begging. And it's going to turn into its own apocalyptic scene for, the way we always talk about that stuff anyway.
Yeah. I can tell you this because it's been put out there, so I'm not breaking any NDA on this one because it's public knowledge. But it's kind of like public knowledge. If a major disaster happens, the government coup plans, I say plans plural because you have a coup plan for Homeland Security, you have a coup plan for TSA, you have a coup plan for Treasury, you have a coup plan for...
What do you mean a coup? C-O-U-P? Coup?
Nope, C-O-O-P. Continuity of operations plan.
Oh, okay.
All the big corporations have coup plans as well. So,
sorry, I was just I didn't even know what you were talking about. So, just wanted you to clarify what that means.
Yeah. So, coup is and I'd say we probably had during my tenure at Homeland Security, we did 12 coup operation drills where the major teams of 3. So you had a morning shift, afternoon shift, and a graveyard shift, all evacuated to the coup facility. And for a week, they ran at Homeland Security, not from out of DC, not from the Freedom Center, from up in the mountains. And, Treasury did the same thing. The Justice, all of the agencies have coup plans to be able to continue to operate in a disaster, and they leave the DC swamp for higher ground, and they take enough people. Those facilities can handle enough people to have to be staffed 24/7 on a marginal operational way, thing. Because not everybody's they don't have room for everybody, and so there are probably I don't know, I can't numbers I give out here, but there are 15 sites that I know of, and I know there's a lot more that have multiple jurisdictional agencies there, and you can look this stuff up and find it. And
I probably got 8 of those sites within 50 miles of me.
probably West Virginia's loaded.
Oh yeah, West Virginia and Northern Virginia and Maryland and yep.
Yeah, if you're above 2,000 feet, yeah, you have facilities there.
Crap, I got site. You know which site I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that one as a crow flies, it's only about 15 miles away. So yeah.
Yeah, the one that everybody talks about is
that doesn't exist. Yeah,
which it exists, and it's no longer operational. That's the Greenbrier.
Oh yeah,
underneath the Greenbrier. But
yeah, that's down in West Virginia.
Yeah, but there are plans to put lower people in the Greenbrier again. It won't be the president there, but it'll be other people there.
Yeah, continuity of government stuff. Yeah,
there are going to be flights out taking elected officials out west.
Mm-hmm.
There are a bunch of facilities out west too.
Yeah, they'll stick most of them in Cheyenne and wherever.
Yeah, Cheyenne, New Mexico, Nevada has 3, Colorado has 4. A couple of the ones in Colorado besides Cheyenne Mountain are big. But yeah, so they're going to be there, but the thing is, though, it's going to take a while for the federal government to straighten stuff out. They'll be operational, limping along, but it's going to take a while for them to get things going. And I don't want to even go into the illegal activities that'll creep in. But yeah, so for you need to have for a recovery plan, you need to figure out just for all the different things, how's the recovery going to affect me from the tsunami, from the mega tornadoes, from the mega hurricanes, the earthquakes, worst case scenarios and stuff. What do I need to do and have ready to go depending on where you live, because everything is going to change up everything. Yep. Yeah. Well, you get in certain areas outside of the area. Yeah, prices are going to go up for a little bit, but I don't get mad at me for this, but there's going to be suddenly a lot less food production needed because there's going to be a lot less people eating. You can figure that one out.
Yep.
And because you know what's going to happen in New York City. Oh, it's a 50-foot tsunami. We're going to go up in the Empire State Building and watch it from the observation deck. Or other places, the Chrysler Building. We're going to go up in the Chrysler Building. We're going to go up in these buildings, those buildings. We're going to evacuate to those buildings and just go up and wait for the water to come out and go back to our homes. Gee, yeah, right. But there are going to be people that their plan is to, we'll just go up into one of the high rises and stuff, take our backpacks and stuff, and just go up there and wait till the water recedes and come back down and go home. But yeah, I heard a tip from someone that you should have gotten gold in the form of jewelry that you wear one at a time, so people think you're just selling personal pieces and less likely to get robbed. Yeah, that's one of the things is there are 2 things to that. One is invest in gold in the form of jewelry.
But jewelry gold is generally not much more than 14 karat.
Yeah,
which is then there's other metals involved, so it's not worth its weight in gold, so to speak. So
Yeah,
There's that.
there are you can buy jewelry that is closer to the 20 and 24 karat gold, but unless that person has the machine to test and say, oh yeah, this is 21% gold or 21 karat gold, you're going to have a hard time press getting your money's worth out of it.
Yep.
Thing is, other reason why people have put out there about it, we covered this when they come to confiscate the gold. Generally, before when they did that, they didn't confiscate family heirlooms such as gold tea sets and platters and stuff like that.
Right. And collectible coins.
Collectible coins, but they went after the regular gold stuff, and of course jewelry was hands off. They weren't touching that. Yeah, they're depending on the area, there's going to be looting in evacuation receiving areas. So
there's going to be looting after the fact.
Yeah,
that's when the military gets involved. They don't want anybody going back in there. A, you're going to get hurt. B, they don't want you going in there because all the banks and stuff that are going to be wiped out. People are going to be trying to get into that, and stores and buildings, and yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be all levels of looting, from looting supermarkets outside the area because every food rationing is going on, to looting, robbing banks, gold and silver exchanges. Yeah, there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff ugly stuff going on, like normally with all the other mega disasters we've talked about. But yeah, yes, recovery on one of these. Now, here's what's so bad about it. That, like I mentioned earlier at the beginning, on the West Coast in Japan, they had it was recorded there of the earthquake and the date, and the earthquake sent a tsunami to the west coast of North America, and 100 foot high went up rivers, and shorelines were stripped bare of pine trees and other trees up 100, 200 feet high. There's evidence of it. And then the American Indians were talking about the great flooding disaster from the ocean, and they told the Spanish when they were coming and setting up their missions about it. And so the Spanish wrote everything down, and they said, it happened 75 moons ago, or whatever, and so they were able to track it, and they got a ballpark idea when this great disaster happened. And lo and behold, in that time frame was the big earthquake over in Japan. So yeah, things happen. It's happened before, and it will happen again. As far as the East Coast go, we have not experienced a mega tsunami there yet, or at least one not that anybody could find. It may be 1,000 years old, and of course all the trees were covered, and so nobody can find any evidence of it. But yeah, it's one of those things that stuff like this happens. Mother Nature, if someone takes Mother Nature off her meds and she goes crazy, and crap happens. All right, I think we kind of covered this the best that we can cover it. It's just that, yeah, unless it's a Krakatoa explosion thing, it's going to be 100 feet or less of the water hitting of a tidal wave coming in, even if it's the whole side of La Palma or one of the other ones, islands, or multiple of them hitting the water because of mega earthquake there. And so, yeah, it's not going to be as bad as some of the ones saying, oh, when La Palma just slides off, it's going to be 350-foot tsunamis hitting the East Coast. And so it's not going to be that. It's not going to be this. But problems will happen. And so there's no telling what it could be, where, how bad it could be and what's going to happen. Plan for the worst, pray for the best. All right, so coming up here. Oh, hang on. What did I get over here? Ben at Minuteman Solar just put out a video. Can the Percon 5000, can it run in a house cheaper than any DIY solar unit you put in yourself? Okay, but to coming up here Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound for the Monday Night Fireside Chat is jars for canning. And we're talking about all sorts of jars. Tuesday here on Gray Man Prepping for Tactical Tuesday, how many vehicles for bugging out? We're going to talk about what you should plan for and, the advantages and disadvantages of those. Thursday's the Midnight Ride. Friday on Camp Patton is what are you doing now to better your homestead? Next Saturday here, after a year of worldwide famine, what are your plans? So that's what's coming up, folks. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. And thank you in the chat for all your comments. And with that, remember, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps: water, food, medicine, clothing. Learn a new skill every month. Practice the skills you've learned. And we'll see you Monday over on Camp Patton Family Compound. Take care, everyone.
Have a good night.